Hi guys, it's Carissa and I wanted to share with you some crafts or DIYs that I did for the nursery. Unfortunately, this is more of a show and tell because I didn't film myself doing any of this. This was all stuff that I just sort of worked on piece by piece, and some of this took a long time. A couple of these things took several weeks just because I only did a little bit at a time. But I'll do my best to let you know everything that was used, and if you have questions on anything specific, let me know. So the majority of the nursery is gray. My personal taste, I really love mint and light blue and gray. So a lot of the things that I've been purchasing have been those colors. I wanted something that was cohesive but not too matchy. And I didn't want it to scream that there was a theme to the room at all. I wanted it to be very playful and be something that was relaxing to be in and enjoyable, like with little touches of nature and animals. So that will show a lot, hopefully, in the final video that I make, which will be a ways away because we have a lot to do. We started the room from scratch and repainted it all, and we have an awful lot more to do to complete it. But one thing that I did to kind of pull everything together, a lot of the little separate elements, was use spray paint. This is Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch. This bonds to wood, metal, and plastic. And this is the Gloss Candy Pink. I chose gloss because the wall paints are flat and I thought it would be nice for this to stand out against that. One of the first things that we used it on are the shelves that we picked up from IKEA. These are the spice racks that you can get from IKEA. They're like $4 a piece. And they come as raw wood, which looks beautiful, but I wanted to paint these pink so that they would stand out against the gray wall, and I think they look really nice. And as you can tell, it's just a slight gloss to this. It's not super, super shiny. You could definitely add a coat of clear gloss over it to intensify that if it wasn't shiny enough for you, but I thought this was perfect. So as some of you may know, I am planning a gallery wall, which is proving a challenge to plan, at least the layout, but I have some time before I need to worry about that because I want the furniture to be in place first so that I know what my wall space actually is that I'm working with. If you want to see some of the things that I already purchased for that gallery wall, I will link the video below where I show you sort of what I was collectively getting ready for the nursery before we were able to start painting it. One of the things that I had mentioned was that I wanted a photograph of a squirrel, and I found one on Etsy that I really loved. And I decided, instead of getting a large sort of elaborate frame like the other frames that I had, that I get something really simple. So I grabbed one of the just cheapy frames at the craft store. This is only a couple of bucks. And I spent a couple more dollars to put a mat over the photograph. I feel like that really makes a difference and, you know, just takes it up a notch from what it would look like otherwise. I'm not saying that the photograph wouldn't look nice alone, but I just feel like that complements it a lot, if that makes sense. Look how adorable that squirrel is. Oh, she's got snow on her face. So I had Mike take the backing and glass out of this and spray just the frame part of the frame in that gloss candy pink. And it's going to add just a little bit of color and pink to what is otherwise going to be a wall with very little pink on it. And the other thing that we used the spray paint on, which turned out to be a bad idea, I have a couple of suggestions on what could be done better in the future if you were to try and take something like this on. But I purchased this craft paper, paper mache Dinosaur from Target, from the craft section at Target. And I wanted to, this didn't turn out at all like, well, I mean, the finished product is basically what I was going for, but this wasn't at all what I was hoping it would be. I did want to spray paint it pink so that it would have just the overall color of being pink, and then I wanted to find just cellophane and cut it into little bits and glue it on so that it would create sort of a little bit of a disco ball or a reflective effect. But I couldn't find that cellophane anywhere. It's probably because all those girls on Instagram who are making those shattered glass nails are buying it all, so I can't find it anywhere. So what I did instead was I purchased oversized sequins, and they had a little bit of a pink iridescence to them, so that adds to the color on the overall dinosaur. But because this was paper mache and it was like a craft paper base, it was really absorbent. So Mike said he had a difficult time spraying it because the color would just seep into it instead of coat it. So I would recommend using just an acrylic paint and painting it by hand. It would not take very long, and it would probably use a lot less material up than using, he said that he had to use almost an entire can of spray paint just on the Dinosaur. Another thing you could do is just put a thin coat of Mod Podge over it and let that dry, and then hopefully you'd be able to spray it and get a nice even coat without it soaking into the paper. And then I very painstakingly laid down Elmer's glue in small clumps and hand placed every single sequin on this Dinosaur. I kind of gave up towards the bottom there and I didn't cover it completely. Something that I'm noticing about it is it does not like to be touched, because if you're not careful, the sequins will pop right off. Which is fine because I plan to just put this on a shelf. This is by no means a toy, this is just decoration, but I feel like the cellophane would have adhered better, or at least it would be less likely to come off if I had found that. But there's also a chance it would not have been as sparkly. So my Disco Dinosaur is complete. This barely deserves to be included, but this is something that I'm planning to most likely add to the gallery wall. I wanted some shapes other than squares and rectangles. So I found this at Michael's. There's only a few dollars. It was just this wooden heart with the piece of twine at the top to hang it. And it looks like they painted it white and then just kind of sanded the edges a little bit to rough it up a little. What I did was I took some chalk craft paint, so it had a really matte and sort of, I guess, chalky finish. And I put a little bit of it on a paper plate and I dabbed a little tiny bit of paper towel in it and then just streaked it through so that it would create a little bit of color on the heart and just a little bit of contrast to the white. But I don't really plan on doing anything more to it. I think that this is, I just like it how it is. So I know that these are probably meant to be used in much more elaborate ways, but I thought this was cute just how it was. So I scoured the internet looking for something like this, and it didn't exist. At least not, well, no, not really. I had such a hard time. I really didn't find anything that even came close to what I was looking for, which was just a character cut out to hang on the wall. I'm pretty sure if it had been Mickey Mouse or something a little bit more common that I would have found something. But between handmade and mass-produced, nobody made what I was looking for. This is on a smaller scale than what I would have been willing to purchase. I was looking for something that was up to like 10 inches, but I decided that I wanted a little bit more variety in the size of things that were on the gallery wall as well. So I decided to take this on myself, and I made a small wall hanging of Totoro. And this is made out of Sculpey. I initially purchased the different shades of Sculpey because I thought that what I'd do was make it myself and sort of inlay the belly and the eyes and the mouth and do it all in separate pieces. But it turned out it was easier just to cut out a slab of it that I rolled out sort of thin and just hand paint the details on myself. So you can see that I kind of mashed together the white and gray clay that I had previously used. And it's very rough. It's not very well made, but it was made with love and I did it myself. I probably could have taken my time and done a better job. I don't love the way his belly came out because I tried to just put a little ball of tin foil underneath so that the gravity of the clay would create a little bit of a bump on his belly. It's not, I guess I should have made a bigger ball of tin foil. So it didn't turn out quite how I wanted it to, but I still think it's cute. I took a picture frame hanger and I attached it with Sugru, which is a moldable glue, which hardens. It's like a putty and that hardens after 24 hours. I didn't have any that were in gray or black and I was afraid it would stand out too much behind. I think this was like a terracotta brown color. So I just painted it black so that when it's hanging on the wall, you can't really see it from the side. I can only hope though that this isn't creepy or frightening to a child. And lastly, the project that took me the longest and probably was the most frustrating at times is the mobile. I have been admiring similar mobiles on Etsy for years. They look incredibly well made, and honestly, are probably worth the $80 or $90 that most of them cost, just in time spent alone to create them. I don't know if they're being done by hand or with a sewing machine. I'm sure someone who does it on a regular basis does it more quickly and has a better system, but I just couldn't justify spending that much, especially because I liked them all a lot, but there was always just a little something about them I wish I could change. So I purchased a few pieces of craft felt, which is just about $1 a piece, some embroidery floss, and a gold hoop, which I don't know what that's normally used for because it was in a weird spot in the craft section. It wasn't an embroidery hoop, it's just a gold hoop that I don't know why it is what it is. I still don't know, even though I had to order one online because I couldn't find the diameter that I wanted. I also chose, instead of creating felt teardrops, I chose to purchase plastic gems and just attach those with some clear fishing line that we already had. And at a few points during the process, I posted photos of it on Snapchat just to get some suggestions because I felt like it was missing something. Once the clouds were on, I thought it looked okay, but it just needed a little something more. So I purchased some plain white feathers and dipped them in some coordinating paints and hung those on there as well. And it might not be perfect, but I feel like, just like the Totoro, it was made by me and it was made with love, and I feel like it's very special that way. And me being impatient and just wanting to get it done at certain points certainly contributed to certain aspects of it not looking as good as it could. But honestly, when I see it hanging up as one big piece now that it's finished, I feel a lot happier with it than I did when I was really scrutinizing the little details and looking at all the mistakes I felt I made. And the best part is I spent less than half of what I would have if I purchased one that was already made, even less than half, considering I would have had to pay shipping on that as well. Sometimes the materials alone for making something yourself cost more than what it would cost to just purchase something. So I really weighed that when I was going into it, and the project seemed really inexpensive, and I'm really proud that I did it myself. I believe that is everything. If you have any questions for me, please let me know, and I look forward to showing you how all of this looks set up in the nursery when it is complete. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!